Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. Well, we say the MHG podcast. I think it's more the Lurgy cast today. Yeah, I've got a bit of a cold, so it's not too bad. But Stu here got a bit out of COVID. But as he reliably informed me, he hasn't got the uncontrollable shits. So how are you doing, Stu?
Well, yeah, no, that's definitely a positive. So, yeah, I'm happy that has not happened. All the rest of the nasty stuff, but not that particular one. So I count that as a win, and I'm celebrating that as we speak.
Yes. And as I said to you off air before recording, I would have wished the uncontrollable shits from COVID on Hitler. And then what we've got to say is, look, we're sorry, Kanye, okay? Look, we don't mean to insult Hitler. We know he's a good guy. We know he's cool. And, you know, we apologise. We apologise wholeheartedly for bringing his name into disrepute.
I know, right? Yeah, it's not fair of us to pick on a long-dead right-wing fascist monster. It's so weird. The whole Kanye thing is so bizarre. I mean, you know, clearly... It's got
to be a social experiment. It's got to be.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Anyone that can make Alex Jones go, that's a bit much.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, the whole situation is just completely bananas.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, completely. Yeah, it's. I saw the clip and I was like, oh god, he's on Alex Jones. This is going to be like it was on TikTok, and I went, this is going to be a car crash. It's both of us just going to go to town, and you just saw Kanye going off on one, and then Alex Jones going, whoa, what? No, not Hitler. Even I know where to draw the line. Yeah.
There are no words.
I mean, who's had the biggest fall from grace, Kanye or J.K. Rowling?
In the last few years, I'd say it's a good question. I mean, no one takes what Kanye says seriously unless they already believe that stuff, which is all nutty anyway. Whereas, you know, there are people who genuinely believe J.K. Rowling's point of view. So, yeah, I think in a way it's her.
I mean, there's no doubt in who's the most dangerous out of the two. But, you know, Kanye, I mean, there was even a stage where he went, well, he's a bit strange, but, you know, he's a talented guy. You know, he makes some, you know, some people like his music. It's all good. And then... I respect the Nazis. Can we stop using the Nazis' name in a bad way? And President Obama's Jewish. He's not black. He's Jewish.
I know. There are no words.
No. Right. Do you know what else can be a bit crazy? And sometimes there's no words for, but not on this podcast.
What's that?
Video games, Stu.
Hey, there we go.
It is going to be it's going to be a short one with me and Stu because I say Stu's not well. So we're going to do just a quick one for both of us, and then at the end of the podcast, unless Stu tricks you and edits it in somewhere before the end, there'll be a couple of bonus games at the end from just me. So we'll leave that up to him. It might be a surprise. Bit of a twist. You never know.
Who can say?
So, I know. What have you been playing, Stu?
Well, I've been playing Front Mission First Remake on the Switch, which is exactly as it says. It's the remake of Front Mission First, which was the first Front Mission game, unsurprisingly. And that came out in...
Not the second back mission.
No. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and that's from the SNES era. It was about 94 or 95, I think it came out. It's a very old game. And it's been completely overhauled and redone in a new graphics engine, a 3D engine. And apart from that, it's tried to keep, I think, most of like the core of the game in there. Pretty much the entirety of the core of the game. Though you can play it in two modes, not different graphics modes. It keeps the same look of the new style that they've gone with, which is for me a bit of a disappointment. I think it would have been nice to have been able to play with the sprites if you'd wanted to, but there you go. There's the modern or classic, and the modern has a few quality of life tweaks that you can apply to it. But it doesn't really comprehensively change the game from what it was back in the day. And the difference is, so what it is it's a mech tactical RPG sort of strategy type game, and you take a group of mechs into battle, and you kind of part of like a militia, and you're fighting against various different toughies, and you can upgrade different parts. What makes it a little different from regular kind of tactical RPGs is that where you get hit very much determines what you can do. So like if you lose if you get both arms of your mech destroyed, you can't attack. If you get your legs destroyed, or at least severely damaged, you can't move around the battlefield properly. That sort of a thing. So it's not just like life or death. It's you're impaired, and if they take out like your best weapon, then you're kind of screwed, or you have to pivot and try and do something a bit different. So there's that built into it, which is quite good. And the only thing I've played really kind of like that is Ring of Red on the PS2 years ago. So how does it stack up today? Well, it's got some good stuff in it, and it's got a lot of bad stuff in it, unfortunately. And the main thing is it's brutally hard in a way that doesn't necessarily feel fair. So you miss a lot. Like, it's RNG, obviously random number generation, whether you hit or you don't, like a toss of a dice. You very, very often miss. Like 50% of the time you'll miss, which that's not very satisfying in a game. It's fine to like do that occasionally, like 10% of the time, 20, even like 30, like 30% of the time to miss is okay. But to miss a lot of the time, half the time, is quite frustrating, and you miss a lot more than the enemy misses. So that's frustrating. Secondly, you can't target individual parts of the robots, the enemy robots, which seems like craziness to me. It's like the first thing I would have done in a remake would be, well, there's these things like some of them are really fast and they want to punch you. Some of them are really slow. They're long range and they've got big cannons or missiles. And if I'm fighting the fast one, I want to take out its legs. If I'm fighting the slow one, I want to take out its cannon. But of course, you can't do that. No, at least not that I've found. I think you can, depending on what weapons you have, I think some of them target different body parts. But that's opaque. It doesn't explain that in the game, and it doesn't say what they attack. So I think you might, if you got a pen and paper and made copious notes, you might be able to work it out after about 6 iterations of parts that you've bought. But off the bat, no, you can't. So it's got a lot of quality of life stuff that's like in the core of the game that's a bit of a problem. Plus also, you can't, it doesn't have stuff that they put in a lot of old games that you would like fast forwarding through battles. I mean, you can do things that speed things up, but it doesn't have like a fast forward button that you can toggle on and off. So yeah, you want to see like the animations of an attack and stuff the first time, but in a battle, like when you've got tons of the same things happening, you want to fast forward through some stuff. You can't do that. You can't save anywhere. You can save some places, but you can't just save anywhere. So it's a very old-fashioned type of a game with a lot of stuff that's happened in the genre since then that has improved it. It's got a really good story. I kind of like, in a way, what they've done with the graphics. They're quite nice. I think it is very disappointing that you can't use the original sprites because they were very nice and very good. Unfortunately, it does seem like a little bit of a missed opportunity for me, which is a shame.
Yeah, so although it's got a classic and modern mode to it, so the classic mode, is that literally just the ROM of the original game, or is that still a port, so to speak, or a reboot in any way?
The modern version has fixes, I think, for some of the quirks, if you want to call them that, of the original game. So there were, I think, some difficulty spikes, some balancing issues, things like that. I think it's tidied up a few of those, and it's added a new campaign as well, a new mission in the campaign, rather. Yeah. That's how I understand it, yeah. Whereas the classic one is literally just the entire structure of the previous game. But as I say, it's not. It doesn't use the graphics, the old style graphics in the old. If you choose the classic campaign, no.
I mean, I would have.
Yeah, me too.
There's a reason people wanted that, was because they liked the original.
Yeah.
And the fact that the classic mode, so to speak, which has like the mechanics, doesn't have, you said, like a fast forward mode. Even if you don't put it in the modern one for whatever reason, you put it in the classic mode. But all that stuff you can do via an emulator.
Yeah.
You get save states, everything, fast forward, etc., etc. All of that is put in there. So, for me, there's no reason why a game, if you're developing a game like a Reboot to Front mission, why you could actually skip a classic mode in a remade skin. You could just put the original game in there. It's a lot less effort, and people will probably appreciate that more. So you have your modern retelling, or your modern, take on it with quality of life, and then you have the original ROM in there. That for me is better than giving you the classic mode in a new skin.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it all comes. I think with these things, it often comes down to money, doesn't it? I mean, I bet you the team working on it would love to have gone. You can play it. You can play the original in its untouched form. You can play the new game, but with the old sprites. You can play the new game with the new sprites. You can mix and match any that you want. You can flip it on the fly in real time. All of this stuff. I'm sure if they had
like you could, was it Halo on the Master Chief Collection?
Yeah,
do that, couldn't you?
Yeah. So I'm sure if they had world enough in time, they would have loved to have done that, and probably just didn't have the time and the money, unfortunately.
They could have saved themselves time and money by using Nintendo's trick of actually using illegal ROMs on their own services.
Completely bananas again, yeah.
But, and then shutting down the other services, yeah.
I
mean, that's all Nintendo had to do, was put that on there, go for another spree of going, we're going to shut down ROM sites. Bit of free advertising, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but I think there's a lot to like in here, right? I'd say you can get around you should be able to get around, I haven't tried it yet, the insane difficulty by putting the difficulty as low as you possibly can, because I doubt it will still be, that it would be make it easy. I'm playing it on normal, and it's just, I've tried certain missions I've tried 3 times and just got battered. And you're trying to work out what to do. There's a mission where there's this you're trying to rescue this journalist who's in a mech for some reason and can't really fight. And you also have to try and get this from a crashed plane. You have to get some technology that's been dropped, and it doesn't. You don't know from the first time round what your focus should be and what you have to do, so you have to kind of experiment. And I was like, okay, well, I'll deploy these here and these here, and I'll protect this guy and do that. And it was the wrong thing, so I tried it again and did it a different way, which was better. And it's it doesn't explain that, which is absolutely fine, that's no problem. It's work it out yourself. But with it being so difficult, you can just go through for an hour and go, that was the wrong plan. You get wiped out. So yeah, I think if you do it on the easiest mode possible, you'll probably have a lot more fun with it without it even being, particularly easy.
Interesting. Tactics games are on the way back, aren't they? I don't know if it's just because I'm having to play them more, because they're easier for me to play due to site issues. But there seems to be a resurgence on tactics games. Like Metal Slug's getting a tactics game, isn't it? And we've got the Marvel Midnight Suns, which will be out at the time of listening to this, etc., etc. There just seems to be a lot of tactics-based stuff coming about.
There does, and I don't really know why. I mean, I know they're doing a Tactics Ogre remake that's coming out on everything as well. And
yes, it's out on PC. I know that much.
Ah, right, yeah, cool. So yeah, no, it has had a resurgence. Maybe it's because of the popularity of deck building games and stuff, which is uses a similar sort of mechanic in a different way. And it's all in the way that you present it, isn't it? In these things. So yeah, maybe that's really helped bring them back. But I really like them generally speaking. So I'm glad. Yeah.
Yeah. So without getting the wrath of Nintendo, how does it play on a Steam Deck, Stu?
I've got no idea. No idea. Yeah, no, I haven't even tried it. I suppose I could have, but yeah, no, I mean, on the Switch it runs really well, 60 frames per second. I mean, the graphics aren't, particularly pushing the system at all. Pleasant enough as they are, but they're not. I mean, the last mech game I played on the Switch was what's it called?
Advance Wars?
No,
not Advance Wars.
Not Ex Machina.
Demon Ex Machina.
Demon Ex Machina, yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what I'll do is, what I'm going to do is, it's not one off, because I've got so many games lined up, and still, I'm 60 hours into Persona 5, and I've still got about halfway still to go, so I've still got another 40 to 60 hours of that to get through. But what I think I might do with Front Mission is wait for a sale, pick it up on Switch, and then just load it up on the Steam Deck and see how it goes.
I think even better might be to have a look through. Yeah, just get it, download it illegally. Would be to have a look through all the front missions, and not that many of them comparatively got Western releases, but quite a few did. I would look through which ones got a Western release and which ones got the best reviews for those Western releases, and grab hold of them, because they spread right over SNES, PS1, PS2. Just get the best one you can. And,
I think what I'll do is I might just boot one up on the Ambinic or something like that, and see how that goes. And if I like it, then do it. Yeah, I'm not just gonna, it's not as if I've got ADHD, Stu, and I'm just gonna rush out and go, oh, I must have that game and get it.
Of course not. That would be crazy.
Don't do stuff like that. Yeah, no, I think well done. You brought me back down to earth. I think what I'll do is I'll boot it up on the Ambinic or even on the deck, on the SNES version, see how it goes, and if I get on with it, and then if I like it, I'll add it to the wish list for a sale.
Sounds
so.
Yeah.
Talking about improvements and lots of tactics games, I've been playing another game, and it's not a tactics game. Did you ever play Golf Story?
No, but I remember your review of it. I know that you liked it.
Yeah, it's a really good game. I like these sporty RPG type things. And the very, very underrated, if you ever get a chance to play it, it was on the Vita, Everybody's Tennis, which was an RPG tennis-based game. It was absolutely fantastic.
It was one, yeah, that's one of my favourite
everyone ignored
games.
it, but it was brilliant.
It's fantastic. I loved that game. Yeah. Was that not a PSP game?
Yeah. What did I say?
Vita.
Well, you can play it on the Vita.
You can. Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yeah, exactly. The Vita's still the best system because it's got an entire PSP library on it, if you've got it modded, and the entire Vita library, and PS1, but I wouldn't play PS1 games on the Vita, personally, because those bloody... Anyway, but yeah, the Vita is perfect because you've got two brilliant libraries on there. But anyway, yeah, everybody said it's really good. Golf Story, really good. But I've been playing Soccer Story because, World Cup's coming up. The World Cup's here. And everyone's doing football. So what better time is it to release Jesus Christ ADHD, to release a football-based RPG game? Jesus Christ.
Going well, this podcast, isn't it?
Don't edit any of this because this is just how I talk. This is how I talk. No one's shot by me. Anyway, I'm obviously now stalling to get my brain rebooted. Soccer Story. Great time to release it. World Cup, football fever, blah, 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 human rights, etc., etc. Anyway, so Soccer Story is kind of like this big event happens, and football is banned across the world, in which there's lots of stereotypical viewed housewives everywhere celebrating. But yeah, so football's banned across the world. Apart from a certain form of football that is accepted by a higher power. Blah, 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 blah. Story basically to go, you get a chance to bring football back to the world. Even though it's banned, you've got a magical ball and off you go on your journey to go and bring football back, or soccer. It's soccer. It's referred to as soccer. It's called like Soccer Story. The big bad company's called Soccer Inc. One thing I do like about this game, actually, you can actually have a mode where it's US or English mode. So it refers to things as soccer in US mode and football in English mode.
Oh, nice.
Well done, developers, on that one. But yeah, he's got this RPG thing, and you're going around, you're meeting people, getting quests, and going, oh, I want to start a team. You know, and people going, oh, you can't start a team. You know, that's illegal. You're like, oh, come on, let's start a team. We could do it in secret. And then you do all these different things. And they go, oh, I'm only going to join you if you can put all these trash cans back upright by kicking a ball into them, or if you can score in these like secret goals that we've made, and so on. So you go through doing all these different like little quirky missions, and you know, some are skill based, such as like you've got to hit targets or you've got to hit a timer right. Others are a bit more like puzzly in nature, such as, like I said, finding where these hit secret goals are. And conceptually, it's really, really good.
That is a really good premise.
Yeah, and structurally, it's really good. However, whereas Everybody's Tennis and Golf Story, and I imagine the upcoming Sports Story, the Mario Sports RPG-based games like the Mario Golf Tour and stuff like that, all have a lot of charm about them. You know, you get invested in the silliness of it. You don't here. And I don't know why. I did not take to the characters at all. The missions felt there in terms of their structure. You know, the first thing you're like, you got to go and create a team. And like the first one you do, the reason I do this is where you got to find these hidden goals. Like the hidden goals are painted purple. They might be an actual goal. They might be painted on a wall or sort of between posts and stuff like that. Do you know how sort of like when you were young, you go and play football, you just go, oh, look, we'll play it between the no ball sign and, you know, this wall.
Yeah.
Everyone's played football between a no ball game sign and a lamp post. Everyone's done that in Britain. So you'd be like that sort of thing, finding the hidden goal. The problem is, like, it starts off and it goes like, here's a goal. You're like, right, okay, I can see how that's painted on. You go find the next one. And some of the puzzles, like, you find something like, fine, you know, a little bit difficult. But then there's one where, in the end, I just had to go kicking the ball at every bit of scenery in the hope I'd find it. Because it was like at an angle that you couldn't see it, and well hidden so you couldn't see it. Now, I did think, maybe that's just me, not, you know, my vision and stuff like that. So I got Lucas to have a look at it, and he went, I can't see that, Dad. I can't see that at all. And I was like, well, that's just being very obtuse. You know, you're trying to make that difficult just for the sake of it. That feels to me. And you've got like certain things like, I want you to hit these targets. And some of them are fine, they're all straight on and stuff like that. You can see them, and you go, I've got to upgrade my ball kicking power so you can kick the ball higher and stuff like that. I get that. But then again, some of them are sideways on at an angle. And the game doesn't convey depth well enough. Now, this could be my vision or something, but it doesn't convey depth. So if you've got two that are on the side and you've got to try and work out where you stand, it's very difficult to work out where to stand. And there's lots of little niggles like that made me just go, do I really want to go and do this next one? And I wasn't driven to go forward. And whereas the story's okay, I said the characters lack charm. They just lack so much charm. And I don't know why. You know, it's not because they're pixelated, because then other games have done it and they've done it really, really well. The writing just felt bland on it. And I say the gameplay was average. When you get to actually play football in it, again, I'm not expecting, you know, top of the line back when it was good Pro Evo, but the football doesn't feel good either. And that you know, we spoke about recently the Pixel Cup Soccer, is it called?
That's the one, yep.
Which doesn't play a realistic game of football anywhere near, but it's still fun to play. You know, you feel like, right, I can improve on this. This doesn't have that feel to it. And yeah, I don't know. I'm hands up, I've not completed it. I've not got anywhere near the end, I don't think. But the reason for that is I'm not compelled to. I'm just not compelled to do it because the game feels like it's fighting me, and the game doesn't want me to continue with the story. So, yeah. You know, Golf Story, when I played that, there's difficulty spikes where you're like, oh, can I? But it's quirky enough that I wanted to. It just lacks it completely.
That's a real shame. It sounds, such a waste of a good premise, really. Do you think there's anything they could do to improve it, or is it a lost cause, do you think?
Apart from remaking it, with better writing, more likeable characters, and better gameplay in the right areas, no, it's nothing they can fix with patches.
Wow,
unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that does sound like a complete swing and a miss. That one.
Now, in saying that, some people might like it. I'll say it's not a terrible game, but if you've never played Golf Story, if you've never played Everybody's Tennis or one of the Mario Sports RPG style games, if you've not played any of those, do you know what? Yeah, I think you might get some enjoyment from this. If, however, you've experienced better, this does lack in every single way, and that is a shame, because I wanted to like this. I really, really did, and I just don't.
Yeah. Everybody's Tennis needs a sequel. Such a good game.
Well, just re-release it. Just,
Yeah. That'd do me. I'm going to play it.
Double check. Is it abandonware? I think we can say that's abandonware now, can't we? So off you go. Fill your boots, everyone.
Don't know. But I'm gonna play it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm compelled to go back to it once I've finished Persona 5. Now, Persona 5 as a football game. I'll do that. A Persona football game. We've had Persona fighting games, Persona dancing games. Make everything Persona. Persona Call of Duty. Persona FPS. What else? We've got the fighting game. Persona 4.
You've not
Persona
mentioned
4X.
a tactics game yet? Surely a tactics game.
Yes. See, I put sort of what the base Persona is almost tactics to me because it's an RPG, so I kind of put them both in the same bracket. But yeah, no, a tactics game. Persona Match 3. Oh my god, yeah, I'd do that in a shot. A Persona based what was the Match 3 game with like the orcs and everything? Puzzle Quest. Persona Puzzle Quest. There you go. You can have that one, Atlas.
Why? I hope they're working on it right now. They should be.
It's a better Pokemon game than Pokemon as well.
Nice.
It is. But anyway, yeah. That's it, really, from me. Is there anything you want to add before I let your brain, your ears, your head recover from COVID and me?
Yeah, I'll need another week.
Yeah. No, we'll be back after Christmas. It's fine.
Oh, you're breaking up. Sorry, can't hear you.
I said we'll be back after Christmas when Stu's recovered from talking to me.
Yeah, back in 2024, raring to go.
Yes, 2024. Because fuck knows what's going to happen in. So, as a closing thought, before I let you go, and we'll do your outro and everything, and then you can edit how you see fit. But it's Germany World Cup, right? Is an interesting one. So, Germany have failed to get out the group stage at a World Cup only twice before. One was in 1938, which was the following year World War II happened. The other was in 2018, which was then followed by the advent of COVID the year after. Yeah. They failed to get out the group stage in 2022. So I don't know what comes next.
Yeah.
So 2023, buckle in, people. Germany failed to get out the group stage.
Very odd. Were they in a tough group? I've not been watching it because I've boycotted it because of Qatar.
They had Spain, Japan, and Costa Rica. Now I've not been watching it, but I've been kind of following it via text updates and stuff like that. So
yeah,
so I've not really been watching it, and basically whatever I get to see on TikTok. That's how I consume everything these days.
Yeah.
And there was at one point last night that both Costa Rica and Japan were going through instead of Spain and Germany.
Bloody hell.
But it ended up being Spain and Japan going through over Germany and Costa Rica. So there you go. World's ending.
It certainly is. That's really quite good, though. I mean, not at the expense of Germany, because I like Germany, but it's good when there's difference and it's not just established.
You're right, Kanye.
What?
Oh, wait, you're right, Kanye.
Come on now. Don't associate.
I'm not. No, right. Just for clarification, just in case people don't realise I'm joking, I know the Germans aren't the Nazis, they're completely different. I understand that, but that's a common joke throwing back, 70s, 80s, where all Germans are, to blame for the war. We know that's not the case. Jesus Christ, help me backpedal, Stu.
I think I'll probably just go do the outro now.
Yeah, I'll shut up now. That's a good. Well, I'll shut up now, but I'm going to be talking on my own in a bit. Whatever. Edit that. Have fun. I'm the worst person to edit. So, as promised, here's some bonus content from me now that Stu's gone back to bed to get some rest. So, a couple of games I've been playing that I wanted to talk about this week. One is an early access game, and the other I want to talk about because of accessibility, which is going to lead to a bit of an announcement at the end. So, first game I want to talk about is a base building simulator? Yeah, base building sim, colony sim, whatever it is, called Stardeus. Now, this has been out in early access since October-ish sort of time. And basically, it's, as it says on the tin, it's a base building colony sim. You start off, you're on this abandoned, broken mess of a spaceship, and all that's kind of left is drones that are active, and there's some humans that are in stasis. You are the artificial intelligence that has to basically fix up the ship so that obviously humanity can survive. And what you've got is this great little system that builds up very basic, create power, bring that power to something, recover, build, repair, etc., etc., etc. As you go, things get more complicated, the game gets deeper, you unlock more, you can do more, etc. You get more money in, more resources, you can use that to do yet more and more and more, and so on and so forth. And it's just a really interesting game. It's in early access, so it's still being built upon. So I've only touched it a little bit, but it works really, really well. It has good menus to it, so it's fairly simple to understand. It uses icons. There's a good tutorial with it to get going. But what it also has, and what I like, and it's kind of relevant to the second game I'll be talking about, is it's got a really, really good UI to it in terms of accessibility. It's a dark UI for the most part, so you can, it's easier to read the text for someone like myself, which is really, really good. And it scales well. So it's got a scalable UI to it that is, on the most part, it's adaptive, so it will do it itself, but you can turn off the adaptiveness and scale it as you wish, which is brilliant. So I played it on the Steam Deck, and it makes nice chunky menu items, which is brilliant. But you can play it on the normal monitor and scale that back so that it's much better on a monitor. So really, really good. Developers definitely understand UI. And I would go as far as to say they are very, very close to setting a standard now on this is what every UI should have as part of it. This scalable UI with easy to understand text that understands that dark text on light backgrounds is difficult for a portion of people, and it's much easier when it comes to menus to read light on dark because it's not glaring. And yeah, it's really, really good to see. Now, again, I would like to see more customization when it comes to menus, because I do realise that it's self-shopping to go, it must be light on dark because that's what I want. Some people might need dark on light due to colour blindness or whatever. They might need it the other way around. So again, customisable colours. Even if you could just at the base level say, here's a CSS mode for light on dark, here's a CSS mode for dark on light. Give those options. But on the whole, everything here is easy to understand. There's no big text. You can zoom in and out of the game itself, which is really, really good. And it lets you get really close. So one issue I've had with a lot of Sims is that they don't let you get close enough. They let you go in, but you get to a certain point, you go, I could do with zooming in another couple of levels. This lets you go right out, right in, lots of control. Really, really good. Takes a little while to get used to with the controls. I'll get this the wrong way round, but it's the right stick controls the camera and the left stick controls the pointer. But if you get the pointer to the edge of the screen, that will move the screen as well. And you just got to get used to it. It takes a moment to get used to it. But I say it's early access. There's still plenty they could do, but it's got all the good trappings of a colony sim. It's difficult where it needs to be. It's accessible at the start, and then gradually, introduces more and more mechanics. So you might have issues if you don't dedicate time to it, and you go back into it like months later without touching it or playing loads of other things. But as I said, on the whole, really, really good game. It's in early access, and I can't wait to see how this one develops. Now, the flip side of that, another game that I've been trying to play, we'll say, is Ship of Fools, which comes from Team 17 as the publishers, and is made by Fika Productions. And it's a it's a roguelite apocalypse style game. So you kind of you have to board this ship and you go through like this seafaring thing, and you take on various monsters and you eventually die. But it's got a travelling tower defense to it. Is one way of putting it, but it's like meant to be co-op, but it can be played single player. You kind of drop cannons and other types of weapons onto your ship in certain places. You use those to fight off different sea monsters as you progress. And there's a build-up of a story. You could, you click through the map and you go, oh, there's the next bit. FTL, Slay the Spire style map progression to it. And so you kind of you progress, you upgrade your weapons, get more weapons, upgrade your defences, etc., etc. But you'll die, you'll go back, you learn, you get some upgrades, you die, you learn, you go back. Typical roguelike stuff. And it's really good as a game. The concept's really good, the actual gameplay loop's really good, and everything about it is really good, except for me, it's unplayable. Okay, that's maybe being a bit harsh. Once I understand the mechanics, I can play it, but I had to really struggle to understand everything. So I had to take screenshots and zoom in on a photo editor to read the text properly and stuff like that, because often we'll complain about tiny text in games and the odd exaggeration. It's for someone with eye vision problems like myself, it can be a pain, tiny text. But here, it's ridiculous. The tiny text in this game is ridiculous, and the user experience, the user interface on this is absolutely ludicrously bad. So to start off with, you've got conversations happening, and it does the typical RPG thing where you'll get a text box at the bottom with the avatar of a character to where on one side or the other side, depending on who's talking. And that text in that box is tiny, and that box on the screen is tiny. It takes up so little real estate that you can't read it. Now, the problem I've got here with something like this is the game stops to tell you what's going on, to have this text come up on screen. So it's not as if that it's in the way of you playing the game. It comes up. So make it bigger. Make that stuff bigger, because it stops anyway. And there's no need for it. Again, UI, when it comes to it, give me a dark mode option. That'd help some. But make it bigger. All the flavour text in menus is tiny. The menus themselves are tiny. So your ship, when you first start, it's kind of got like this creamy off-white deck to it. This like wooden type thing. And you'll get button prompts come up when you've got to do certain things. So you might pick up a new weapon, a cannon, and you want to drop it down. And then it's got, like, you can now press A or whatever to pick it up, and Y. So Y to pick it up, A to activate it, all different things. But the problem is, those prompts are tiny with no background. So you kind of look at it and you're like, I can't see what that says, what one's what. So first time I played, I'm just guessing. I've got none of the story flavour. I don't know whether it's just like basic background story or whether it's important information on what I've actually got to do in the game, etc., etc. And it's terrible. And there's no options to change it. It lacks so many basic options in the menus, which is a shame. Now, I've played another game that I can't talk about yet, which does this a lot better. And I'll talk about that in the coming weeks when the embargo's over. But this is a game that I want to enjoy. The basic gameplay loop is absolutely brilliant. I like a good tower defense game, especially one that keeps it fairly simple, that doesn't get overly complex in terms of area and stuff like that. So containing it all to this ship is brilliant. The design of the game, like the characters, are brilliant as well. I love the look of the main character. But I'd have a little plush of it if possible. And I love a roguelike. I love a roguelike game. I really, really do. And it ticks all those boxes. But it's all wrapped in a UI that is just terrible. Absolutely terrible, and makes the game unplayable for me. You come to a point where you could get upgrades and you visit a shop. I'm guessing what those are because I can't read that properly. Now, I'm playing this on a Steam Deck and it's technically unsupported. And the only reason I think it's unsupported is due to the text size. Someone's looked at that and gone, well, that's not even playable, which is a shame. Because apart from that, it runs really well on the Steam Deck. I run the game really well. I didn't notice any lag or missing textures or anything like that. So it plays really well. It's a perfect deck game. These sort of games where you can just sit back on the couch, or even, you're on a train journey at a cafe, you could just do a run. They're brilliant for that. Absolutely outstanding. But this is unplayable on a deck. And even on a bigger screen, on sitting close to my monitor, it's not great because there's no UI scaling. So even then, it's not easy to see. It's a bit better, I'll give it that, but it's not good. And that what turns out to be, I think, would be one of my favourite games I could have played, into one that I really, really can't be bothered with. I want to play it, but why should I? I shouldn't be having to fight to play a game. I shouldn't be having to battle my way through. Now, I have done as best I could because I got a code for this to talk about it. But if I paid money for this, I bought this, I'd be getting a refund. Again, which is why I think Steam's refund policy is one of the best out there, because I would have just gone, I can't play this game. I've done it before with other games that I've bought and it's got really bad accessibility options. I've gone, I can't do this, but give me my money back. And this would be one of those games where I think it's absolutely, brilliant, but not playable. And this is where the likes of Team 17, who published this game, Devolver Digital, Raw Fury, all these indie publishers that we've got now, they've got to step up. They've got to start doing some quality assurance and some testing on games like this. They've got to start hiring consultants for accessibility and things, and offering tools to these independent developers. I don't know the size of Fika Productions. I don't know whether it's a couple of people that are making it, whether it's a small team. Hey, there might even be a large team. But for whatever reason, they've not put any real options in the game. Definitely no accessibility options. And this is where your Team 17s that have to step in. They need to be able to help these developers do that. Now, do it at a cost. If they want to make money from it, fine. Or, we'll provide you this for an extra point whatever % of profits, however they structure their deals with the developers. I don't know. But we need this here because this game is brilliant, but alienates, I would say, a good chunk of its audience. So people with visual disability, I think they're out. Older people, so people that are now 50, 60, who grew up in the 80s and 90s with video games and still play games, they're possibly out because of the small text and, your eyes do deteriorate as you get older. So you are starting to lose a portion. Now, are a lot of 12, 13, 14 teenagers, early 20s, are they playing this sort of game? I don't know what the demographics are, but, it's not Fortnite or Call of Duty. It's, I think it's aimed more towards certain types of gamers. And I feel they're alienating a large portion of their audience, which is a crying shame because everything about it, apart from this, makes it a really good game. So I think it is now time. We've called out AAA publishers before and we'll continue to do so, that they have no excuses. And as I said, Microsoft and Sony are doing really good jobs themselves of doing it. Nintendo lagging behind, obviously, because it's Nintendo. But, your EAs, Activisions, Ubisofts, got to do more with it. Some of them are, Ubisoft have got, for all that's wrong with them, they do actually have some decent accessibility settings in games, from what I understand. I don't play them because it's Ubisoft. So now it's time for these independent publishers to step up and start offering these services. Or whether that's actually giving them tools to do it, or whether that's going, look, we've got disabled people to test your game, and they've said these are the issues. You need to get these fixed. Whether it's at launch or whether it's down the line because it's got to be patched in. But again, as a developer, this goes out to all developers. If you're not sure, speak to people who are sure. The people who will be playing these games, talk to them. Ask them what they need to be able to play your game. And you will get, the PR alone will get you extra sales. And once you've developed it for one game, you take that knowledge into another game. You haven't got to hire a consultant to say to you, this is what's needed for disabled access. You haven't got to do that because you've learned. So you don't need to keep hiring them. Or you might need to, when you test this, can you test these settings where you do quality testing or quality assurance, whatever it's called? Do that. But it's a brilliant game, but with, unfortunately, unacceptable accessibility settings in 2022. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. So, that ship of fools. And this leads on to something that I've been planning to do for a while. I'm hoping I can do. Now, I still have vision issues, so video editing possibly won't happen. But if it does, I might just do, I'll just repeat a trailer for images over whatever game I'm talking about, because I do want to start doing more of these. Or it might just be audio-only stuff that I do. But I'm going to be talking more about games and their accessibility, because there's some games that do it really well. There's some games that don't do it at all. And they need to be talked about. What do they do well? What have they missed? Or just what haven't they done at all? So, starting in the new year, so I can prepare, there might be one or two test ones early. And we'll announce those on the podcast when they're out, or on the site. Just keep an eye. There will be a couple that I'll try and test with. But we're going to talk about individual games, accessibility, and what is done well and what needs to be added on a per game basis based on my experiences. I can't talk for people who have, limb issues, that kind of thing, or people who have different mental health issues compared to myself. Deaf people, I can't talk for those people. I will encourage other people with disabilities to maybe join me and talk about certain games and their experiences. But the idea is I want to start talking about this a lot more on a per game basis, because we often on the podcast we'll talk about what needs to be done on the whole. Oh, this game misses this, on the whole. I think now's the time where we actually got to call out the games. It doesn't matter if it's a single-person developer or a massive AAA title. It needs calling out. And that's what I'm planning to do, is to start a new series, whether it's, audio-based, maybe sometimes written, depending on what my eyes allow me to do, hopefully with video content to back it up as well, and all those kinds of things. So that's hopefully coming. That's Stardeus, which does really well with some of the accessibility stuff, and Ship of Fools, which doesn't at all. That's it from me. This is either bonus at the end of the podcast, in which case thank you for listening on, or Stu's Major will have to listen to this, and it's going to pass on to his outro now. So take care. Bye-bye.
So there we are at the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed that, despite us both being all crocked and rough as badges whatsits. Until next time, follow us on all the socials, join our Discord, support us on Patreon or Ko-fi if you can possibly afford it, and in the meantime, until next time, stay safe and stay sane.